kind of taking it for granted that everyone knows what happened. But just it looks like Craig may not be up to speed on what happened. So, I mean, it's been kind of ongoing for a while where Trump has been kind of antagonizing Venezuela, pretty much bombing their fishing boats, or what they claim fishing boats, what the U.S. claims is drug boats that's somehow transporting fentanyl from, despite it not being capable of getting to the U.S. coast. But nevertheless, they bombed it and killed people on it. And then what happened yesterday was they started actually bombing Venezuela. And then what they did was they went and quote unquote extracted Maduro and his wife and put them on a plane. Actually took them to New York City, and they're actually like they've been perp walking him, the DEA, and they've indicted him for I think drug trafficking and also get this, possession of firearms.
You are kidding.
Nope,
No,
I'm not kidding.
nope.
So part of the indictment
Wow.
is that he had machine guns. And
Yes.
for some reason, the Second Amendment does not cover South American heads of states from maintaining a well-regulated
army.
militia.
Boo.
Yes, I thought that was so ridiculous. Yes, stating the drug reason we're going in there, and possession of military-grade machine guns and
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also has like probably like fighter jets and bazookas and stuff. So I don't know why they didn't go after him for that. And also, I'm not sure why the other countries aren't indicting Trump for having nuclear weapons.
Well,
They should just do that.
Just maybe.
I don't
the
think
rest of the
America's
countries-
signed.
Yeah, just maybe the rest of the countries are slightly more rational than ours is right now, which is a
Yep.
sad statement to be sure. Yeah, what he wants is to, first of all, my hypothesis is that this is a deflection from Epstein. Because
Of
No,
course it
seriously.
is.
Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
it is.
well, yes, and again, do I know what's in his mind? No, I don't. Which is why I'm saying hypothesis rather than saying it must be this. However,
Actually, let me just play this because this is him talking about his justification.
Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core
You have to
principles
up
of
the
American
volume.
foreign policy.
Yeah, it's a little low.
Dating back
I don't know why it doesn't go up.
no matter how loud the video is, his statement's going to be pretty low.
Wait, let me
You
see.
see,
potentially
you got
in league
live
with the
captions.
cartels operating
Oh, hold on. I got it. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go.
along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries, and not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines.
Okay, so I guarantee you that Trump doesn't know about much about what the Monroe Doctrine is, what the history is, and how it is currently being used. But actually, does it? Anyone know what the Monroe Doctrine is and what its background is?
From sea to shining sea.
So
I mean, that's sort of a gross oversimplification. I don't want to steal your thunder.
That's
Yeah, the other
That's about how we do it Latin and South America, if I'm not mistaken. How to keep our hands out of their business, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, originally it was about Europe not, doing anything in South America
okay.
because there were a lot of South American countries that were in debt to European countries. So it was a way for the U.S. to say, "Hey, Europe, you can't go and colonize these South American countries using their debt as a way to as a
Okay.
justification." Right. So that's how it started, and then eventually it got to the point where, U.S. essentially was kind of extending its sphere of influence to say that it can go and intervene with South American countries that are, not behaving, but other countries, other European countries, cannot go and interfere with what the U.S. is doing down there.
Gotcha.
Unless you're the UK and want an island back.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the Monroe Doctrine would have covered that, but I mean, ultimately, it just comes down to the U.S. saying, "Hey, this is our territory, this is our hemisphere, and no one else should come and interfere in it."
Yeah, I mean, what John's hypothesis is very, I think, spot on. But I also think he really wants the whole American continent, north, south,
Well,
the
I
lot.
don't think it's even that as much as, like the oil. Here, let me just play the rest of this.
And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot.
So when he says kind of these vague things, it's a big deal. We've superseded by a lot, by quite a bit, a lot. That's another indicator that he has no idea what he's talking about.
No clue.
Yeah, yeah. And look at Rubio. I mean, he obviously is smart enough to know what this is, know what that means. But look how he's not even like looking. He's just like looking away during this whole time because he knows the U.S. just stepping into Venezuela and also kidnapping the head of the state there is not the right thing. I mean, it's against international law.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's also an act of war.
yeah. Trump has committed an act of war. There was debate on whether or not attacking the boats a second time may have constituted an act of war. There was some vagary there.
Well,
But
because
this
it
is
was
not,
in international waters, right?
yeah,
Arguably,
that's really kind of what it
Yeah.
boils down to.
Yeah, that was kind of like the kind of like legal loophole-ese there. It's like, well, not
So actually,
quite.
Machiavelli, can you lower your mic a little bit? I think you're kind of overpowering in your settings.
Oh, my bad.
They also stole one tanker, two tankers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is
High sea piracy.
sorry.
You're right, mate.
We went into another country. We used military force. We extracted their duly elected head of state. That is an act of war. So he had,
I mean, arguably, there may have been election corruption and all that, and maybe he wasn't really duly elected, but it would be like saying that, like Russia could come in and take out Trump because he wasn't, there were some vagaries in the election and how,
yes.
Elon may have stolen it and all, right? So, but that's their internal affair. It doesn't mean that we can just go in and step in.
Correct.
And by the way, like there is a precedent of U.S. going and grabbing a head of the state, and that's Noriega.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where he actually annulled the election and kind of put himself in power. So it's a little different.
Yeah, that there was some justification. However, you try to hash it, that we could do that, but that was a whole different story.
Right. Yeah. The difference though is it, and in fact, actually, I would still argue that was still us going into another country.
Yep.
And removing the head of state. So even with the Noriega example, which admittedly Noriega was a terrible human being,
Yep.
who also committed war crimes and crimes against humanity, but we still went in and extracted him. We did not get approval from the international courts. We did not get approval from anyone. We just did it. And this is another instance where we just did it. And what I find appalling is the very real chance that A, we will end up going to war with Venezuela, and B, there will be zero consequences for Trump once again for a blatantly illegal action.
And not to
Because
mention
his base will support it.
Right, but we see this is where like the international court does come involved as well. So we can have sanctions put against us. Uh, there can be real blowback in the international community because of what Trump did. If the UN, if the international court, if just the international economic forum, if they can actually have the balls to hold him for what he did.
Latest news: they've seized 2 Venezuelan oil tankers and are now pursuing a third one across the Atlantic. That's
and I also like to look at it like this. When it comes to Venezuela, you also got to look at who they're allied with. I mean, you just got to look at the world's political order, because I think Venezuela was close to China and all them, so this could cause some issues later on.
Well, here's the other thing, right? The U.S. does this against small countries that they can push around. I mean, almost every country, U.S. is going to be stronger militarily, but countries like Panama and Venezuela, they're not going to have the military might to really fight against the U.S.
No,
He's not going to go after Putin because of vagaries within Russia's elections, and also considering Russia has some oil resources. But he's not going to go after that. He's not going to go after China for their human rights. Yeah, China for
China.
their for their human rights abuse. He's not going to go after those guys. And for other countries, they have a huge incentive to get nuclear weapons, because that's the deterrent that they can have to prevent countries like U.S. from coming in and just stomping all over them.
And by the way, and this is completely true. The Washington Post back in 2000 did a story amongst historians about what the biggest mistakes of the previous millennium were, and the biggest cock up of the last millennium was invade Russia. That's another reason why most countries, even strong ones like the United States, will not do a military action against Putin and against Moscow.
one thing I will note is he has completely the Philippines and Indonesia, everything that's going on over there, he's shut up about. I mean, the Indonesia and the Philippines both have ISIS training camps in them,
Oh yeah.
and that's where the Bondi Beach shooters went for a month. So he doesn't care about Asia as such, just China. And
Craig, I don't think it's that U.S. has become a bully to some extent. It absolutely is being a bully in the international sphere.